What's up, y'all? Thanks for stopping back through to kick it with me to talk about power. This is season 5, episode 6, A Changed Man. So the episode picks up right where it left off last week with Ghost and Angie at Angie's apartment. And Ghost is pretty much pouring his heart out, I guess you could say, to Angie about, everything that has been going on, how he feels about Raina dying and his handling his emotions and all of that. And he also comes clean to her about when he left her, that it wasn't because he didn't love her anymore, but because that Serbian, I forgot his name. What's his name? Milan was after him and threatening her about him. So that's why he left her. Not because he didn't love her anymore. And Angie's like, why you didn't tell me? And Ghost is just like, I just didn't tell you. I chose not to tell you, whatever. So it looked like Ghost was expecting a certain type of reaction from Angie, as if he was expecting her to kind of, I don't know, kind of fall into his arms on some, oh my God type of stuff. But she didn't. She was like, listen, I got to go to bed. Okay. You can spend the night and you can sleep on the couch and that's it. And which I was glad that happened, because honestly, I thought it was going to go a different way. I thought they was going to end up knocking boots, but they didn't. So that was cool. But they both have this sleepless night. They tossing and turning. They going, the camera switching back and forth between him and her. And they both just really are having a hard time getting any sleep. So whatever. I honestly, I really don't care about them two together all that much. But I see that it's becoming central to the plot. Ghost and Angie together is becoming central to the plot again, just in a different way. Okay, so the next morning, there's a knock at the door. Angie was getting ready to reveal something to Ghost. I don't know what, but she was interrupted because there's a knock at the door, and it's Tasha. So Tasha barges in, and she's like rambling on about how Blanca and the white detective had come to the house looking for the gun, questioning her, and so on. And to Ghost's surprise, to both of their surprise, they're both together in Angie's apartment. So he's like, what are you doing here? And Tasha tells Ghost that pretty much she and Angie are working together on this whole Ray situation to protect Tariq. And Ghost is just taken aback, like, what in the hell is what is this? So he was surprised. Tasha was momentarily surprised to see Ghost over there, but she told Angie, like, later on, like, I don't even care about y'all. You know what I'm saying? So because she has a bigger vested interest at this point, which is protecting Tariq. So Tasha tells Ghost that she didn't tell him about this whole situation with her and Angie because she knew he wouldn't trust her to handle it. Okay, so she just did what she had to do. And Ghost surprisingly took a step back and was like, okay, pretty much y'all go ahead and do what y'all gotta do. Basically, even though he did it reluctantly, he still kind of sort of just stepped to the side and kind of accepted what was going on between Tasha and Angie. And Angie tells Ghost that she's going to prep Tasha for questioning about the gun, because the cops are going to bring her in to question her, and Angie's going to, just get her ready for the questioning. And they pretty much excuse Ghost, which we all know that Ghost does not like to be dismissed like that, but it's a whole different ball game right now. So it's the Angie and Tasha duo. Okay. Blanca shows up at the headquarters, and Tamika introduces Blanca to the full crew and says that they're going to be investigating Tasha about this gun, and Tamika sanctions it with her full support, and she tells everybody on the team to cooperate. Okay, Dre meets up with Alicia about his encounter with Diego, because remember, Diego went off about the gun, that gold gun that Alicia planted, thinking that Dre planted the gun. And that's also when Dre said that Ghost and Tommy were out hitting the Tainos. Okay, so that's what Dre and Alicia are talking about right here, is that whole situation. And Alicia's not really worried too much about that whole gun situation, but she's like, the bigger problem is that Diego is thinking Tommy and Ghost set them up to get arrested by the feds. And Alicia, that's a problem for Alicia, because Alicia says she doesn't want a war to happen, but as long as Diego keeps thinking that Tommy and Ghost, who are backed by the Serbians, as long as he thinks that they're the ones who are hitting the Tainos, there will be a war. So they have to take care of that. And Alicia tells Dre, I know how you think, okay? You play both sides against the middle, okay? And Alicia basically figured out that Dre was the one who brought up that whole Tommy, and he's the one who gave that piece of information, threw that out there about Tommy and Ghost. That's how Diego has gotten it and is running away with it, because Dre was the one who brought it up. And Alicia was like, basically, I know that it was you. You play both sides against the middle, and you need to find somebody else to play, okay? So now over here with Ghost, of course, he couldn't leave it all the way alone, okay, because he's meeting with Proctor, asking Proctor hypothetically about the situation that Tasha and Angie are colluding on, okay? And Proctor tells Ghost to stay out of it, okay? But Proctor knows how Ghost operates, so he tells him to stay out of it, and he's like, you know, you really need to just think about yourself, and you do that well, okay? So just stay out of it. Meanwhile, Ghost is trying to apologize to Tariq. He's calling him. Tariq's ignoring him, but he leaves a message saying he's sorry he had to see him that way the night he was drunk, and you know, basically, Ghost, the way Ghost was apologizing, it sounded as if he was feeling like Tariq should just forgive him and excuse his behavior and know that his intentions were good. So clearly this is going to be a process for Ghost, because this he's just not that type of person, okay? Like a remorseful, accountable person, Ghost is not. So I guess he's trying, but Tariq wants none of it, okay? So Kanan also texts Tariq and is like, let's get together tomorrow, okay? So they sent Tariq to Choke, thinking he was gonna be away from the bullshit, but clearly he's not, okay? Because he's still in cahoots with Kanan and into shit that he's not supposed to be in. So obviously it's not his location. His location, Tariq's location, is not the problem. It's Tariq that is the problem. Tommy and Terezi are chilling in the Mustang eating McDonald's. And just a side note, that McDonald's just looked disgusting. Like, I'll hit McDonald's, you know, every now and then for some breakfast. Like, I might get the hotcakes, but I don't, for some reason, Terezi eating that food just made it look nasty. Anyway, so they sitting in the car, okay, and they joking back and forth and everything, and turns out they sitting there staking out, waiting for Dre to show up so Tommy can put this tracker that Angie gave him on to Dre's car. All right. Now this is more shit that Terezi is in on that he doesn't need to be in on, because little does Tommy know Terezi is working with the enemy. Okay. But Tommy is still in his feelings and on his emotional shit. So Tommy ain't listening to nobody, which is not a surprise. But anyway, he puts the tracker on Dre's car and texts Angie and says, "Turn it on, J-Lo." So Tommy, you know what I mean? What can we do but love Tommy? To know Tommy is to love him. Tate, Ghost, and Dre meet at the club. Okay, Ghost called them all there because, oh no, I'm sorry, not Ghost, but Tate got them all there together because Tate needed to let Ghost know that all of the QCP donors are being audited, courtesy of Terezi, okay, and Cooper Sacks, and excuse me, and Mockingbird, okay? So he lets Ghost know that they're being audited and not to worry about it. Cooperate, everything will be fine. Tate goes on about his business. Dre talks to Ghost for a minute. Ghost wants to call a truce with Dre. He says, okay, I will talk to the Bassett's and I'll get you your job back. You know, I just, you know, going forward, it would just be better if you and I, you know, just drop the bullshit and just call a truce and work together. I'll get you your job back. Dre wasn't really feeling it, but then he ends up going along with it, okay? Now this damn Mockingbird, I'm feeling like, because ain't nothing happened to Mock yet, okay? Nothing's happened to Cooper Nutsacks either, but I just feel like the same way Ghost jacked Tate up on that bar and choked him out last episode, I feel like I just want a little bit of that for Mockingbird, because he is just, like he is such a jerk, and so is Cooper Nutsacks, but okay, anyway, I'm going off on a tangent. Mock approaches Proctor's ex-wife, Lindsay, okay, at her, I guess it was at one of her meetings or something like that, and basically propositions her saying, okay, if you give me info on your ex-husband, Joey, I will help you with your custody case. I know you're a recovering cokehead, okay? You're a cokehead, I know that, and they will use that against you in custody when you're fighting for custody for your daughter, and you won't get custody of her, but if I help you and I back you for custody, you'll have a better chance of getting your daughter back. And the only way I'm going to do that, though, is if you give me info on your ex-husband and his criminal side of the family. And she does it, okay? She does it, which didn't surprise me. It really didn't surprise me, because she has no loyalty to anyone here, really, but herself. And, you know, so she goes along with it. Dre and Spanky and 2-Bit are meeting at one of their warehouses or whatever. And this is where Dre tells 2-Bit and Spanky that the Jimenez got locked up and he feels like somebody is setting him up. And when Cristobal comes, Cristobal also mentions that the Tajinos were getting hit and everything, and that Cristobal, Dre is thinking that Cristobal is the one who set all this in motion and is trying to take Dre's organization from him, okay? And Cristobal, when he shows up, he was like telling Dre, nigga, you wanted to be so deep in the streets, you should have learned to speak Spanish, because Dre is like, they be talking in Spanish and shit, I don't know what they saying. Dre is in way over his head, okay? Cristobal walks off and he's talking shit in Spanish, right? Cristobal said, this is our country now. And he says that this nigga can't even keep his soldiers in line, okay? Which is true, okay? So Cristobal walks off, and Dre is saying again that it's Cristobal that set him up, okay? 2-Bit says maybe it's Arturo. Okay, so they decide they gonna go see Arturo. Tommy is venting to Teresi, okay, again, giving him more 411 about how he doesn't have a network and Jason is going to be after him because he has more product than he can move and he has no way to move it. So Ghost shows up, and he comes in because, you know, he's not expecting Teresi to be there. So he comes in and he's just talking as he normally would. But then he sees that Teresi is there. And he kind of, you know, is hesitant a little bit to continue talking. But Tommy's like, nah, go ahead. Whatever you could say in front of me, you could say in front of him. Clearly misplaced trust, okay? But Ghost goes on. He says, listen, I can't wash your money no more because we're being audited, okay? And Teresi decides to chime in and is like, yeah, you know, he's right, Tommy. But Ghost is like, I don't need you. I don't need you co-signing, okay? I don't need you co-signing. And Teresi decides to say, you know, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to excuse myself. So he leaves. And you can see it on Teresi's face. Something's calculating. So he leaves, okay? Dre and 2-Bit confront Arturo about these two dumb motherfuckers. They really confront Arturo, and 2-Bit says, you gonna be the translator. You gonna tell Dre everything that they saying in Spanish. Like, 2-Bit's an idiot, and so is Dre. You know, Dre has a little bit more street sense than 2-Bit does, but they both idiots. Like, really? Okay. Anyway, Arturo gives up some information about Uriel. Before Uriel died, he said he told Arturo that Diego rarely ever leaves the house. Alicia, however, does do pop-ups, and that she possibly was the one who could have planted the gun in Long Island, okay, that got them arrested. So Drake got what he came there for, okay? He got some information, as well as when they're walking away, 2-Bit was like, how did Arturo know that the Jimenez got arrested? Like, you just told us, so who told him? And Dre was like, I got somebody to blame it on, okay? So he's, you know, Arturo just, I knew Arturo didn't stand a chance just from the time they approached him about being a distro. Just he looked nervous, and he looked like he was ready to snitch whenever he had the opportunity to, if it would save his own ass. We see here it didn't save his ass, but it just is what it is. The wind, whichever way the wind blow, that's how it go, okay? Now Teresi meets up with Mockingbird and Cooper Nutsacks, right? And he was like, what are y'all doing with this audit? Like, how am I going to get what I need to get if y'all jumping on every little thing with this? What are y'all doing? Like, y'all trying to get, I'm going to be dead, okay? Because they gonna easily trace this shit back to me, all right? And he just like, you know, telling them to pump their brakes a little bit, like, slow down, okay? Because obviously he can't take the heat, so slow down, all right? But they don't care. You know, Cooper and Mock, they don't care if Teresi dies. They just trying to get Ghost, okay? They trying to get Ghost, so they don't care. Angie follows up on, she's staking out. She's following the tracker. So she's sitting outside of this warehouse, and she sees that Diego and them, all them pull up, Dre and all them pull up, and it's this wholesale van, flower wholesale van, whatever. So she's, following up on that. She calls Tommy. Tommy's like, who the fuck told you to call me, girl? I ain't tell you could call me. What do you want? Like, what do you want? And he tells her, don't call me no more. Okay, you got what I told you I would, do this. So don't be calling me. All right. Ghost has this sort of like weird encounter with Tasha where he almost seems like he's taking accountability for the circumstances, and he tries to apologize to Tasha. He tells Tasha that he met with Reverend Macedon and that he wanted to be a new man, and he tries to apologize, but we know Tasha sees right through that. Like, she's like, you're apologizing to make yourself feel better, not because you are really taking responsibility for it. And so they continue to talk, and Ghost is like, why did you trust Angie with all of this? And Tasha says, because she still loves you. Okay, so it just is what it is. Tasha's very smart, and so it makes sense. It makes perfect sense that because Tariq is in this situation and Tasha has already lost Raina, it makes sense that Tasha would be willing to put everything else aside that happened with Angie to protect her son. Okay, so all of that old bullshit between Ghost and Angie, that shit don't matter to Tasha, and she keeps saying that. Now, at this point in the show, Proctor is sitting down with his cousin Benny, and y'all know who that is. That's Herc from The Wire. Okay, he looks exactly the same. I don't know how he's managed to look exactly the same over all of these years, but he looks exactly the same bald shadow hairline, all of that. So anyway, Proctor downloads Benny on everything that's happening with Ghost and Tasha and Angie, and Benny says it sounds like an episode of All My Children, which it does. Sounds like it's a soap opera. And of course, this is why I say this motherfucking mock, okay? He shows up there because Lindsay gave up the information. He shows up there and is telling Proctor that he has 48 hours to talk, or he's gonna get an arrest warrant for Proctor for perjury because Proctor lied about some shit or whatever, and he tells him about the whole custody situation and threatening Proctor. Benny says, you know what, somebody need to teach you some manners, which is true, okay? So, but of course Proctor's not going to let that happen. Proctor's like, he ain't even worth it. He's a federal prosecutor. He's not even worth it. So, Proctor's between a rock and a hard place right now, okay? Because we all know how much he loves his daughter. He doesn't want anything to happen like that. So, Proctor's got to figure it out, okay? Angie and Ghost are talking about, they back at her apartment. They talking all things righteous and about the truth and did you still love me, Ghost says, and it's just stupid. It's stupid. Okay, they end up kissing, and it looked like they was getting ready to start knocking boots, but they didn't. I was thinking that that's what was going to happen again, but it didn't. Ghost leaves, and he says, maybe if I actually change, you will eventually trust me again. So, cool, he left. All right, Terezi shows up to Tommy's apartment with a solution to his business woes. Okay, he shows up with these bags of ramen noodles, and he tells Tommy, this is going to be your conduit. This is how we're going to get your product moving. This is how we got contraband in when I was inside. So he shows him the pack of the noodles, and it's hollowed out, and he's like, okay, I got you. Sammy, is good. He cool. I talked him into it. He good to go. Okay, and he's going to help us with no worries. So I was just thinking to myself, now, why wouldn't Tommy be suspicious of that? I mean, granted, Tommy is on his, this is my father and he's helping me out and everything, but I would think Tommy would know better, but then again, whenever Tommy's emotional, whenever his logic is off whenever his emotions are involved. But, I was thinking he should be suspicious, but he's not, okay? So Kanan picks Tariq up from Choate Rosemary Hall, all right? And Kanan says, this market is prime for pills. And they just, having this small talk or whatever. He like, asking Tariq, do you like it up here? Tariq says the food is good. This nigga Kanan says, y'all probably eating organic unicorns. I was like, nigga, unicorns. Y'all know I'm a unicorn, okay? So don't fuck with the unicorns, all right? Unicorns is the shit. Ghost is sitting down talking to Tate again. He's trying to make amends for his display of emotion at the fundraiser. Tate's like, I'm not buying that bullshit, okay? But Tate quickly changes his mind when Ghost offers him $50,000 to contribute to his gubernatorial campaign, okay? And Tate accepts, okay? It was no secret that Tate would accept because Tate clearly can be bought, all right? And I feel like that at some point might be Tate's downfall, but we'll see. Tasha, she's nervous, clearly she's nervous. She's waiting at the police station for them to question her about the gun. And this is where we find out that this nigga Terry name is Deleterious Silver. I was like, well, damn. Okay. Deleterious. Anyway, she tells Blanca, that Terry gave her the gun in an evidence box. She put the box in the closet, and in all of the commotion with Raina dying and so many people being in and out the house, she didn't discover until later that the box was gone. Okay. Blanca says, okay, that's fine and good, but it means nothing if can't nobody corroborate your story. So Tasha is going to try to get Terry to vouch for her, okay? Now back with Kanan and Tariq, they riding in the car, and Tariq is just steady running his mouth about how he wants to be free of his father, and Kanan is just feeding this boy so much bullshit, saying that you'll never be free of Ghost unless as long as he's always paying for everything for you. Tariq is like, yeah, well, I fucked my money up, and how do I get it back? And Kanan switches the subject to Ray Ray and says something about your dad killing Ray Ray, and Tariq was like, no, I did it. I killed Ray Ray, which Tariq, I don't know. I just don't know at this point. Tariq, Ghost, it's Ghost's fault. It's Ghost's fault because Tariq is doing everything to spite Ghost. Okay, so he thinks he's doing something by, being in cahoots with Kanan and, feeling like he owes Kanan some type of loyalty. It's just too much. Okay, but Kanan is going to see one of his buddies with some pills to get the pills. Okay. He gets there, and the guy tells Kanan it's a difference in the price. Okay, basically the price went up. Kanan ain't having it, and Kanan beats the shit out of the dude and takes the pills, and they going about their business. All right. Proctor sees Ghost because he's trying to get some coke to entice Lindsay. He is desperate at this point, so he knows his wife is a recovering addict, and he's pretty sure that she'll relapse if and he's going to help her along, okay, because his custody with his daughter is at stake. So he's trying to get Ghost to give him some drugs. Ghost is like, I can't help you, go see Tommy. Cool. Tasha is still being questioned, right? And in the prep, Angie told Tasha to see if she could get them to coax them into telling her their theory on who killed Ray Ray and why. So Tasha does. Tasha gets Blanca to tell her that they think that Ghost killed Ray Ray, okay? And that way she'll know what they're thinking, and they can calculate their next move. She and Angie can calculate their next move. So she's successful. She gets them to tell her the theory, okay? Now, on their way out from beating the man's ass for the pills, they get stopped by security. You know, they got to go out the gate or whatever. And Tariq comes up with this story about he was there to turn in a philosophy paper about Plato and Aristotle's theories, comparing them or whatever. And the security guard is asking all kind of questions. This nigga Tariq fakes an asthma attack, which was so unbelievable. It was not convincing at all, but it worked. So they get out of the security gate. The guy just tells them, go ahead and go. And Kanan was like, nigga, don't you know niggas get killed for panicking like that? And Tariq was like, but your trunk riding low. Did you want them to search your car? So Kanan was like, yeah, all right, you know, you okay. So you did your thing a little bit or whatever. Tariq all proud of himself. And I'm just like, this is so damn stupid. Ghost and Dre are back meeting. Okay, they're face to face. And Ghost asks Dre for a favor, which is to kill Jason Mitchell. All right. I guess Jason would be the last person Dre would be the last person Jason would ever suspect. So I guess that would be an easy kill. So Dre agrees if Ghost will agree to kill Diego Jimenez. Okay, so they both agree. All right, we're gonna see how that turns out. Now, Proctor meets with Lindsay outside of the whatever that wherever her anonymous classes are or whatever, okay? And she just tells him, like, I gave you up, okay, because I want custody of our daughter. They said I wouldn't be able to see her, so I gave you up. Proctor gives her the alimony check, and she thought it was peculiar. She was like, damn, in person? So he hands her the check, and it's the baggie of coke inside the envelope. So that pisses her off, which, you know, she didn't react the way Proctor assumed she would. Okay, so that's not looking too good for Proctor. So because she's like, now I hope you do go to jail. Okay, so that pissed her off. That plan backfired. Ghost and Angie are waiting back at the penthouse for Tasha to come back, and they having this conversation about trying again. And they were like, I think Angie said, I don't think that's a good idea for us to try again. And Ghost was like, okay, but if we did, we would have to be honest about it. Tasha would have to know everything or whatever. So, 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 whatever. I don't know. I still feel like they're stupid together. Anyway, Angie comes up in the questioning with Blanca and Tasha, and Blanca tells Tasha that Angie, because she asked Tasha, do you know Angela Valdez? And Tasha said, yeah, she knows her or whatever. She gave us condolences when Raina got killed. And Blanca tells Tasha, well, Angie also accessed Tariq's witness statement, and Blanca, that's when Blanca says that she shares her theory about Ghost killing Ray Ray and he and Angie colluding to set Tasha up, because Angie was the one who pointed out the bullet in the wall at Ray Ray's house. Okay. But Tasha stands strong, of course, which we expect. Tasha says, my husband didn't kill Raymond Jones. All the cops, Tamika is disappointed, Nutsacks is disappointed. They just all disappointed because Tasha didn't give in. Okay. Tommy and Terezi, they meet with Sammy to get the pipeline going. Okay. Everything looks fine. Tommy's happy. Sammy is faking like he all good. Terezi acting like everything is all good. And Tommy walks away, okay? And Sammy and Tommy having this small side conversation. Sammy's like, I can't believe I let you talk me into this shit. And Terezi's like, look, we gonna do what we said we gonna do, and then we gonna turn them into the feds like we said, all right? So it don't look like Tommy gonna figure it out. It really doesn't look like he's gonna figure it out in time, because he's desperate. He's more so focused on the fact that Jason is on his ass and he's got to get this product moving. Okay. Dre has Arturo at gunpoint. All right. And he makes Arturo tell Alicia about the information that Uriel gave him, about the gun and Diego never leaving the house, and how she was the one who planted the gun. Okay. And then he tells so Alicia, after Arturo, I'm about to call the Bama Toronto. Arturo, after he gives up that information, Alicia is like, well, shit, cool, we got a problem. And Dre tells Alicia about his plans with Ghost to kill Diego, although he didn't mention Ghost's name. But Dre did say, okay, I got somebody who will kill Diego, and I could stop it if you want me to, or we could just let it go down. And Alicia says, okay. She sanctions it. She was like, cool, let's just go with it. Okay, we gonna go with that, and we gonna see what happens. And then she tells him to take care of Arturo. So they burn his ass alive. Now, Arturo just became a casualty. That's all. Tariq ends up selling the pills to the little white guy. Remember earlier in the episode, the white guy was asking about the pills that Tariq had on his little table, Tasha's pills. I guess those were Tasha's pills. And at first, Tariq wasn't trying to sell them. But after he saw how easy it was to get pills, like a supply of pills, I guess, and the fact that he wants to get his money coming in, he decides to go ahead and sell the pills to the white guy. Okay, so cool. He made him some money. Tamika tells Cooper and Mock that she's pulling the plug on the whole Tasha thing, because they can't prove anything, and she can't continue to waste their resources. But that's when Saxe discovers that Angie buried the ballistics report on Tasha's gun. and they all have this moment where they're like, Angie is a part of this organization now. So her picture ends up in the little matrix that they had set up with all of the folks, you know, Ghost and Tommy and Tasha and Angie. Now Angie is officially pegged as part of the organization, okay? Tasha she gets back to the crib, okay, to the penthouse. And she comes storming in with the theory that Angie and Ghost are trying to frame her, okay? And she was like, you talking to Angie, you're the one who found the bullet, okay? But Angie was like, I've been straight up with you this whole time. Yes, I pointed out the bullet, but I didn't think that it was from your gun. I didn't think you would ever be that careless. And so they, you know, they going back and forth, and then she asked her who was questioning her. Tasha said Blanca. Angie knew already who she was talking about, and Tasha put it together. She was like, you know, this ain't even about me. They trying to get you talking about Angie. And Tasha said, and so Tasha was like, I just need somebody to say that the gun was stolen, and I'm gonna get Terry to do that. And Ghost is like, why would Terry ever do that? And she was like, because Terry loves me. Terry loves me more than you ever did. And the look on Ghost's face, like Ghost was just totally outdone. Like, that is the last thing he would ever think that Tasha would say. But it's the truth. I mean, and clearly what goes around comes around, okay? Ghost ended up going out, falling in love, and having another woman fall in love with him. And just as a result, now here we go. Tasha done got linked up with Terry because of Ghost bullshit, and now they in love. And so Tasha was like, yeah, Terry's in love with me, and I know pretty much that he'll do whatever I ask him to do. Angie said, well, maybe I should leave. And Tasha was like, no, I will go. Okay. And so that was the end of the episode. And that ending scene with Tasha walking out of the penthouse and leaving Ghost and Angie there, that was the space that once was Tasha and Ghost space. Now Tasha has completely turned her back, you know, on her home, on her space, and is just ready to just walk out and go do her own thing like Ghost has done so many times before. So, it was a good episode. What did y'all think? Y'all leave y'all comments down below. We could chop it up down there and talk about the episode. Let me know what y'all thought. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, I always tell y'all go ahead and do that. Turn your notifications on. I will be back next week with another episode review of Power. All right, y'all. See y'all next week.